The following podcast is brought to you by Iconic Nation Media.
Welcome to In Studio with Kimberly Lovey, where mindset meets motherhood, media meets mogul energy, and every episode feels like a front row seat to the life you're meant to lead. The podcast where ambition meets authenticity and we make success look oh so good, all while having lots of laughs. I'm Kimberly Lovey, wife, mom of three, founder of Iconic Nation Media, and the CEO who's been there, built that, all while chasing toddlers and even making an occasional appearance on the tennis courts. This show is your front row seat to the real talk behind building a brand, raising a family, and becoming the most iconic version of you. We cover business, mindset, motherhood, media, and all the messy moments in between. Every week, I'm joined by visionaries, creators, and changemakers who aren't afraid to share the unfiltered magic behind their come up. This isn't just a podcast. This is your all-access pass to finally play big. Let's play boldly, beautifully, and unapologetically together. So grab your matcha, fix that crown, and get ready to step into the studio. In Studio with Kimberly Lovey, because your next level has been waiting. And it's fabulous. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm your host, Kimberly Lovey, and this is my show In Studio. For those of you that have not been plugged in, welcome. And thank you for watching on YouTube, and thank you for listening. This is now my first solo episode in my new studio. And I am just so thrilled to have this time and space to be with you guys. A lot of what we cover on the podcast is kind of a mix of bringing on different experts or inspirational stories, business type topics, motherhood. But today I want to talk to you about something that I love talking about, which is mindset and just navigating things that are hard. So specifically, I want to talk to you guys about how to navigate a situation or person, group of people, whatever the case may be, that isn't serving you any longer. And I have a couple practical tips on really just how to elevate your life and make sure that you are surrounded by people that love and support you and that you're in a happy state. I think it's so important that we don't forget about ourselves. I know for me as a mother, sometimes that is very challenging, but kind of just monitoring our mental health and doing it in a way that isn't so fluffy, because I feel like a lot of mindset conversations out there are very fluffy, and then you don't have like practical, tactical, meaningful takeaways. So I want to get into it because I want you to walk away with tools in your toolkit. So I'm going to go through a couple just tips. So let's take a situation that you feel like something bad happened, whether it's personally, it's in your home, or it's at work, whatever it is. There's friction happening maybe with somebody. It could be a boss, it could be a friend, it could be your partner, whoever it might be. I think that the way we choose to react to things is really the keys to the kingdom. So I'm of the mindset that if you let people treat you a certain way and you let them get into your headspace, then that's really your choice. And if you choose to set a boundary and not take cues from other people, that's also your choice. And I think the latter is really the way to be. So you're always teaching people how to treat you. You're always letting them know what you accept and what you don't accept. And using your voice and setting healthy boundaries is such an important part of this. So, for example, if somebody starts treating you in a way that just does not serve you, it's really up to you to set that boundary and let them know that this is not the way that I conduct myself. This is not the way I expect to be treated. And frankly, let them know you're not going to allow it. Setting that boundary, oftentimes, it's kind of like dealing with a bully. Like if somebody's treating you badly and you allow it and you don't say anything and you go with it, they think it's okay. But if you stand up and you say, you know what, I am not really appreciating the way that you wrote this email or the way that you treated me, that sets a tone. And it's a lot of times they will respect you more for being open and honest and having boundaries at all. And, something to note is when somebody treats you poorly, you have to remember chances are they treat other people in their lives the same way. It's probably not just a you thing. I mean, maybe they just don't like you and then they go in on you, but you have to remember if somebody misbehaves in some way that you don't care for, you have to, the way I like to think about it is like, wow, if this person treats me this way, how are they treating their spouse? How are they treating their parents? How are they treating their kids? And then I actually come into a sense of like empathy where I almost start to feel bad for them because I'm like, this person is not self-aware enough to realize that their behavior is completely unbecoming and it's just really not likable behavior. And they go through their whole lives this way. I mean, whether it's in business or personal, this is the way that they conduct themselves. And so I always feel so bad because I'm like, that's such a shame. I'm sure you don't get very far with that kind of behavior. So kind of practical tip number one is just really empathy and really making sure, I guess maybe it's two takeaways already, which is setting that boundary and just really giving them that empathy and recognizing that this is their energy, that it's not for you to fix. It's not really your problem. So the best thing to do is set that boundary. So these two things go hand in hand. So when I see somebody flagged in my mind as somebody that's what I would consider toxic or doesn't bring good energy, one, I do try to create a nice, healthy distance and just, doesn't have to be a big dramatic way of stating like, I don't want to be around you, right? It doesn't need to be dramatic. It could just be a slow back way. Maybe you just don't work with them as much. You don't communicate with them as much. You create as much distance as possible. Maybe if you have to still say work with that person, you create buffers between you so you can minimize your contact. And really the importance of this is you preserving your mental health, because when you have people in your space that are toxic, it can be all consuming. We've all had that terrible boss. We've all had that toxic friend. We've all had that person that is just bringing us down. And when you have that in your life, it can truly consume you if you allow it to. But by being self-aware and really recognizing people's different energy and what works for you and what doesn't, and setting those healthy boundaries, it's game-changing. It's really transformative when you start getting really good at removing toxic people from your life. I think that it's something for me I've been doing for many, many years. I have learned this from a very early age, and it really actually stemmed from me not hanging out with the right people when I was in my 20s. And I came to realize these are not the people I want to be around. And I started to remove them one by one through my life, from my life, I should say. And once you kind of get good at it, and you start to really be protective of who you allow in your space, it's like it almost becomes automatic. I know almost instantly if somebody is for me or not for me. And if there's traits, like I'm always observing people, if there's traits that they're bringing to the table that to me just don't feel like they're in alignment, like maybe I just don't agree with them, I don't have the same values or whatever, that's okay. And I don't spend my time focusing on that person and why I don't like them, or like I just say, okay, yeah, not for me. This isn't my jive. And I just kind of create space and I try to not engage. So that boundary setting is so key. It is like, it's the difference between being happy and not being happy. And I would say if you're not really sure, follow your gut. If you walk away from, maybe it's just even a casual lunch with the other moms at your kid's school, and one person, they're just giving you the wrong vibes, and like you kind of walk away with like a bad taste in your mouth, that's your cue to be like, that person's just not my person. And that's not really the time that you should turn around and start talking about that person, because that's not a healthy, now you're perpetuating toxic energy. It's better to just be like, that person's not for me, and move on. So I would say setting that boundary. Kind of the next big part of this, which is a very, very difficult part, is if you are really unhappy with the way somebody either acted or the way they're doing something. Again, this can be even just your husband, something just drives you nuts that he's doing, or your wife, if you're a male, your partner, whoever you are. I think, especially as women, we're not great at exercising our needs and really asserting our needs. And, we're labeled quote unquote bitch if we are vocal about our needs. What I have found is two things. Number one, if something is really eating away at you, you need to use your voice. You have to use your voice and you have to explain your side of things to whoever it is. Again, this applies to business or personal. Women, we tend to shy away from quote unquote confrontation, and people will use this sentence or this soundbite in their mind. I'm not a confrontational person. Well, this isn't about being confrontational. It's about, upholding your values and upholding your mental health. And so I think not using your voice is really not serving you. And so when you are rubbed the wrong way or something's truly bothering you, you have to use your voice. And what I find is the key here is it's just all in the way you say it, right? Because at the end of the day, especially if it's somebody you love, and a lot of times it is people we love, we just don't see eye to eye with people we love, whether it's in business, whether it's in your personal home. We have to be able to trust that, look, I love you, but we're on different pages on this one topic right now. And so when you approach people with love and true, authentic love, and also being open to their perspective, you can have productive conversations. And I don't think that people have mastered this skill yet. You know who's really helped me with this is my husband. So my husband is somebody that he could say like, fuck your mother. And just the way he says it, like the way he would go about saying it wouldn't be that crass ever, obviously. But he could give you feedback that is seemingly so awful, but it's just his word choice and his tone and his voice. He's saying it in a way that's gentle natured. He's not saying it to be vicious. He's saying it because it needs to be said. And this is a really important skill as a leader, or just as the leader of your home, the leader at work, the leader at the PTA meetings, whatever, it could be your kids' sports, whatever it is. There's always going to be multiple different perspectives from different people. And not everyone's going to agree all the time. It's just not real life. And that's where this skill becomes so critical, is that shutting down and shying away from hard conversations is not the way to do it. It's a way to induce silent suffering. And I don't want you living your life that way. I don't want you tiptoeing around people and forgetting about your needs and, disguising your opinions all the time. That's where people fester. That's when people get sick, when you're constantly pushing down your feelings all the time. Really getting comfortable with using your voice. This is actually really powerful too in grieving. So this is something I've used a lot in grieving with my mom, where I know a lot of times people are uncomfortable crying or crying in front of other people. And I have shifted the narrative around that because it doesn't resonate for me. And what I've come to realize is in pushing down and suppressing my feelings, it's going to make me depressed. It's going to make me want to have behaviors that are not healthy, maybe drinking or masking your behaviors in some other, whatever that is. Maybe it's, working too hard or, but all those types of things are all symptoms of suppressing your feelings. So I'm of the mind that feelings come and they go, and they're hard to navigate a lot of times, but the better you can express them and the more immediate you can express your feelings, that's when you're going to feel so much better authentically and every day in your life. You're going to be able to walk around despite having a million balls in the air. You are not walking around heavy. You're always light. And it's because you've gotten to a place where you're able to express yourself. So for me, it's been grief lately. It's been, letting myself cry when I think about my mom and how devastated I am over losing her. For those of you that don't know, my mom passed away in October. She was my best friend. She was my soulmate, and I know she's with me. And, I surround myself with people that understand and support that. And I don't apologize. If I'm crying, it's like, yeah, I'm crying because I'm proud of my mom, and I miss her so desperately. And that's a reflection of how lovely and important and incredible of a woman she was. I'm proud. My tears are a reflection of how devastating it is to lose such an incredible human. Why would I ever be embarrassed about that? So this notion of reframing situations in a way that's digestible for you emotionally is really important. When something bad happens and it's not something that you were expecting, for me, it's a lot of like, okay, let me give myself time and space to think through this. Let me take some deep breaths and getting out of that like state of panic so that I can collect myself and then thoughtfully respond. And then again, it goes back to using your voice and being radically transparent. And Leonard Wheeler, somebody who's on my network, who's lovely, he actually has a podcast episode all about radical transparency. And I think there's something really important about it. Shying away from the tough conversations is not a healthy way to be. It's a way that suppresses emotions. It causes a lot of pain and awkwardness for people, rather than just simply saying head on, hey, this doesn't work for me, and here's why. Here's what I would like in the future. Here's how we can navigate things better. And part of this that's so important is owning your own bad behavior, okay? It's very, very rare that I'm in a situation that something bad unfolded and I didn't have one thing I could do better. That's just not real life. So a lot of times we are very quick to point fingers at other people. We're not so quick to be like, hey, I just want to point out that I'm the one in the wrong here, or here was my bad part. Something happened related to our kids and somebody apologized to me, and that person was very clearly in the wrong. But I was also like, after time had passed, I was able to reflect back and be like, you know what? I also probably shouldn't have done ABC things either. Like your behavior was more extreme and clearly wrong, it was. But I also was clearly wrong in a couple parts of this story. So I think when we're talking about facing situations that are tough head on, time is helpful to regroup, but also just really that ownership. You should always constantly be searching for, well, what did I do wrong though? There was all made for the perfect storm. So I was a part of it. So how did my part unfold and what would I do better? It's not easy, right? To show up to a conversation when you're upset about something and be like, look, I didn't like that this happened. Here's what I did wrong. Here's what I'm taking from this. Because ultimately, it's not about you or them. It's about collectively harmonizing. When you're trying to create magic in your family and have happy experiences, or a high functioning family, or you're trying to build your team and things are bumpy. At the end of the day, it's not about winning. It's not about, oh, I'm right and you're wrong. That's not helpful. That's actually not helpful, like at all, for the team, because somebody's winning and somebody's losing. So that's not really creating harmony now, is it? Right? So you have to look outside yourself. I think maybe like the third practical tip here is egos. We tend to lead with our egos, period. It's just who we are. Even from being young toddlers, like it's all about us, right? Like my 3-year-old doesn't recognize the fact that mommy has needs too. Maybe I'm hungry too when she's demanding something. It's kind of human nature, I think, to an extent. But at the end of the day, recognizing a lot of us have egos, and it's really better if you don't lead with your ego, because when you do that, when you put your pencil down and you really are looking more at the collective good, only then are you really able to make magic and be productive and do something outside of yourself. And for me, a lot of my goals in this life is about making a big impact in a positive way. That doesn't mean that I'm perfect, because I'm certainly not. But it means I'm really trying. And I'm really trying to elevate other people that I believe are reaching, like myself, to make a bigger impact outside of themselves. So in order for us to do that, we've got to be able to work together. And that's really the essence of it, is like, we really need to find ways to look outside of ourselves and build collectively. So for me, I'm really always trying to find ways where I can elevate my team, my family. And it's not easy. It's hard to be like, I'm really doing bad. Like right now, I feel like a bad mom. I really do. I have been spending, and this is me getting completely real with you guys, like I have really been struggling with being a good mom lately. I know overall I'm a really good mom. Like I love my kids like crazy, but I have not been able to nurture my children the way that they need lately. And thank God I have an incredible husband that has been able to really step in. And now he's joking with me that he's a better mom than me, which I can't say that he's wrong, but it doesn't feel good. Like I see there's behavioral traits with my kids that are not favorable to them. They're not traits that are going to serve them well. And now I have to sit back and like figure out the aftermath of it. It's difficult. And I said to my husband, like, this is happening because of me. And I took full ownership. And it's like behaviors that I see that I personally struggle with, that I'm not great at managing, that I'm still working on. And now I'm seeing some of those traits go through my kids. And it's like, it's because I'm not being as present with them and, being stressed out and all of that kind of stuff. And it's like, instead of me sitting there like getting super down on myself, because I do feel it deep down, like I really have like a really bad feeling about just not being as present with them. Instead, I chose to pull back on some stuff at work, create some distance with certain things, bring people in that can help, and try and block out time with my kids that they really need. So my point is that we're all trying to do our best. Nobody here is perfect, especially me, but I feel like I'm good at some of these things. I feel like I've learned how to create healthy boundaries. I feel like I've learned how to, with love, address things that are hard to address for the better of the team, whatever it is, whether it's my husband or whether it's my team in my company. My team knows, they're used to me being like, and my clients, by the way, if my clients behave in a way that I don't feel comfortable with, I'll let them know up front. And I want the same, right? Like if something's not working for somebody and I respect them and I love them, I do want them to feel trusted. I want them to feel secure in their environment. I want them to feel beloved and important. I want them to feel nurtured and empowered. But they can't do that if they're on eggshells all the time. So when we have hard conversations, it's always with love. It's through the lens of, this is really hard for me, or this is upsetting, or we can't continue this way. And then, I ask them for their thoughts too. Like how do you see it? Because in understanding their perspective, I can better wrap my head around where they're coming from. And that takes away anger, right? Because I don't want to sit there and have angry, stormy feelings towards people that I adore. Like I just don't want that. And I don't want them to feel that way about me either. But I have to say, I think overall that radical transparency and that open-mindedness and candid conversation approach has served me really well, because we vet everything. Everything's on the table. There's no games. Nobody's manipulating each other. It's, nobody has an agenda that's hidden. I mean, I used to hate that in corporate America. And by the way, I was never good at it because I'm so authentically me and I truly care and love. If you're in my space, because I've created boundaries, I truly love and care about you. So the goal is always for the greater good. But when people put me on eggshells and I feel like I can't trust them, it makes me very uncomfortable. If I feel like they have, they're going over here on the side and talking about this thing, or they're angling for this other thing and they're not being transparent with me, it makes me uncomfortable because I'm like, what is happening here? Because the other thing is I don't have the energy and the bandwidth. I have 3 kids right now. This has become my therapy. Thank you for that, by the way. But like, it's exhausting to have to keep track of all of these, games and storylines of people. Like, I don't want to put my energy there. I want to put my energy into building awesome things that I enjoy. I want to have good energy and good vibes with people. I want success. I want all of us to rise, and I want it to be fun. I want to have a good time, even if it is stressful. So, for me, I want to make a lot of money. Yeah. But I want to make an impact, and I want to be around good people. And once you've really been able to curate that really great group around you, and you've set boundaries and been able to master moving away from toxic people, once you've done that, it's really, how do you navigate success, and leveling up when things can be bumpy? And that is the thing that's so tricky. So I hope that this is helpful for you guys to, just have a different perspective and maybe have confidence in using your voice. Have confidence. If like I always say, if you're mad at your husband or your friend or your boss or your whoever, and you didn't let them know why you're upset about something, it's not really fair. I don't feel that it's fair to hold somebody to expectations that they're not aware of, right? I mean, assuming they're not like cheating on you or doing something horrible. If you never told somebody what it is you need, how can you expect them to fill that need? I don't think that's fair. So, when people complain about their husband not being romantic enough or not taking out the trash or whatever the thing might be, it's like, well, but did you ask him? Did you tell him that's important? Did you tell him your boundary? Did you tell him why this bothers you? Did you tell him the clutter drives you nuts and to please, give him a chance. And I find that when you tell people your expectations and your needs in a way that's, again, with love, but also with confidence and conviction, I think that people tend to try to work with you if they really care about you. And there's nothing better, because once you get through all those bumps, I mean, yes, life is always bringing different bumps in the road, but you become so much more elevated in all of your relationships. You have a different level of joy in your life, and respect and really closeness with the people that you've kind of weathered different storms with. And everyone knows where they stand. Nobody's upset. And it just sets a good overall tone for your life. So I hope that this was helpful. Please write in. Let me know if there's anything mindset, business, podcasting, parenting, anything you want me to touch on, either through different interviews, different guests coming on, mindset discussions. But yeah, you guys can expect to see a lot more of me. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and please, if you could, watch us on YouTube, subscribe to our channel at Iconic Nation Media, and just give us comments, give us the stars, give us the love. This is free, remember? Free for you, not for me. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right. That is it for today. Thank you very much for listening, and be sure to follow us at Iconic Nation Media and send us a direct message and comment on some of our posts so that we can hear your feedback and incorporate them into our show. We appreciate you listening, and we look forward to catching you next week.